let's talk about UB right now. I'm Mike Bundt. I'm joined by Gatesy. We're going to talk some UB Bulls football as they came off their first win of the season, 45-6 over St. Francis. We knew it was going to be a dominating performance. The question was, how many points was UB going to score, and how many points were they going to end up defeating St. Francis by? Ends up being a 39-point victory. Gatesy, you were watching it throughout. What were your observations from Saturday and how the Bulls looked in their home opener?
I mean, the Bulls just looked dominant. That's what we wanted to see from them. That's what we needed to see. They were just in a different, class altogether from this SFU team. St. Francis put up points when UB put their backups in the second half. The offense was rolling. I mean, Roberson threw for 133 yards, touchdown pick. But the big thing, Bunty, I think we talked about last week going to this game is I want to see the UB run game kind of get back to where they were. Henderson had 98 rushing yards. He picked up 42 yards from the air, found the end zone twice. And the Bulls, granted, they're a bigger team. They're a more experienced team. The SFU team was mainly freshmen, so they were able to control the trenches a lot more, kind of the reverse of what we saw in Minnesota. With this Bulls team, we've seen the Bulls lose against FCS opponents at home before. They showed up, they took care of business, and they're 1-1 in the year going into Kent State. Bunty, I know you saw some stuff here from the game, but what were your thoughts on it? I mean, Victor Snow was also just awesome. I think the game plan should just be he's somewhere down there. We're going to throw it, and he's going to catch it. So what are your thoughts from the Bulls through 2 weeks of football?
Yeah, so we talked about the Minnesota game last week. That was what it was. There's not too much more that we can talk about that. The St. Francis game, it kind of went the way you expected it to.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to be dominating. You look at the total yardage from a ground perspective, pulling up the stats right now. UB 503 total yards to 126, and in the air it was actually pretty close, 133 to 115. 370 to 11 in the ground game. So what did the Bulls do against St. Francis? They ground and pound. And that's ultimately what UB needs to do to have a winning football team. Normally most years in the MAC with the type of weather that they play later in the season, stuff like that.
Yep.
The only real concern I have from this game, though, is that this is a lower level opponent, and UB still has struggled to really get their passing game going at this point, which is a little bit of a concern. I would have liked to see a little bit more from Tyquan Roberson at this point. He's a veteran who's has, I think it's his 7th year right now in college football.
We're the same age.
10 of 20 for 133, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And then Gunnar Gray, 1 of 2 for no yards and an interception. That's not going to cut it for me. I need this passing game to be better than what it's shown so far. Now, you can get away with it against Kent State again this weekend, but Troy is going to present challenges. UConn is going to present challenges. And
Troy played Clemson really close.
Yeah, so it's not a guarantee that those are going to be victories. Those are going to be tough games for UB. And I know the MAC is all that matters, but there's a lot of other good defenses in this conference. Miami, Ohio has a very good MAC defense. They held Wisconsin to 17 points. Toledo has a good defense. Ohio has a decent defense. So I don't think it's a guarantee that UB is going to be able to just win a bunch of low-scoring games until they get their passing game going. But overall, I will say the encouraging thing, Roberson did have 3 touchdowns. He did show that he has a presence on the ground, having 2 rushing touchdowns. So he is a little bit of that dual threat type of player. The running game was pleased overall. LJ Henderson found his game, 2 touchdowns, 98 yards. I want to see better than a 4.1 yards per carry against an FCS team, in my opinion. But I'm not going to be overly critical about that. Had another 42 receiving yards. You're talking about 140 yards on the day. James McNeil, successful day on the ground. Lamar Sperling with a solid performance, as well as Messiah Burke and Terrence Shelton. So the entire backfield got involved, which is nice to see. When you're talking about the passing game, though, right now, I was hoping to see a little bit more Nick McMillan at this point in time. It's really just been Victor Snow and no one really else in the passing game. And I don't know if that's by design early or what the focus is, but Victor Snow has 2 touchdowns in 2 games, and it's been kind of non-existent elsewhere on the offense. What are your thoughts about what they've shown, and do you have any concerns like I do regarding the passing game?
Yeah, the passing game is definitely concerned. I mean, it's helped that that Victor Snow has just been a magnet. It really just feels like they throw up a jump ball and he somehow comes down with it every single time. He's been great. But for the Bulls to have this success, Bunty, that we've kind of talked about past this early stretch of the season, they're going to need more guys to show up. Nick McMillan is a guy we talked about before the season as like this big player for the Bulls. What's he going to be coming back healthy? How is he going to elevate this passing game? And they've really just used Roberson as a runner. I think he had 9 carries last game. He had a lot of design runs. He ran for 88 yards here. I was hoping to see them push the ball in the air against this team where they can find, a bit more of continuity as a squad where, it really was just the Victor Snow game in terms of creating, sustaining offense. They had some checkdowns and whatnot, but this Kent State game as well kind of falls in that same category of, you're playing a MAC team, not the best school. They got their breaks beaten off them last week against Texas Tech. But this offense needs to find that rhythm in the air, especially if they're going to want to find the success later on. Because Bunty, like you brought up, Henderson only had 98 rushing yards against this FCS squad. They're going to be able to need it. They need some area of this offense to take over this game.
And we got to be fair. Last year, the offense got off to a slow start against
That's a good point.
Missouri, and it did take some time. The one difference I feel like with the offense last year was we had very low expectations for the offense going into the year. There's a lot of questions about CJ Agbana. The thought was he was more of a running quarterback, not a passing quarterback. But we did see moments of explosiveness downfield with big plays and explosive passes. I haven't really seen a ton of that. I know Victor Snow had a nice reception on Saturday, and in the opener against Minnesota, he had a long ball. But he was so wide open, that wasn't really an amazing throw or anything. It was just execution. Now, nice catch this week against St. Francis. I need to see more from the passing game because if this is the offense they're going to have, they're going to struggle to keep up with Toledo. They're going to struggle to keep up with Ohio, and it's going to present some trouble. But you look at the defense. This was a shutout until the fourth quarter where a UB turnover on offense really kind of put the defense in a bad spot and then led to the only points of the game for St. Francis. We talked going into this game that we thought this was a game that UB could potentially get a shutout. You have the graphics right there where obviously Kobe Stewart had a sack. They had 1.5 sacks on the afternoon. And then some players, Red Murdoch, a tackle and a half for loss.
And St. Francis didn't get a first down until 4 minutes to go in the first half. Like they were dominant when that first group was out there, Bunty.
Yeah, and you look at it, 20 carries, 11 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's 0.6 yards per carry. So like this UB defense, they had one of the best performances of their season. The only thing is this is a St. Francis team that was shut out the week before against Louisiana Monroe, which looked awful against Alabama. But former defensive coordinator former head coach, now Alabama defensive coordinator Mo Linguist. But what were your takeaways from the defense, even if it was a limited sample size against a weak offense overall?
Yeah, the defense kind of showed what they had to. I mean, it's tough with the St. Francis offense with them being so young. UB controlled the trenches in that run game specifically, where St. Francis had negative rushing yards for a good chunk of the game. That they showed what they had to do. They got the 2s, 3s in later. Good to get the young guys some reps. But I mean, Red Murdoch was awesome. I know I was talking when someone on Twitter was wondering, only 6 tackles from Red Murdoch. What was that for? The ball just would not even get past the line of scrimmage for him to make a tackle most of the time. So he was, doing his thing. St. Francis was trying to pass the ball early as well, which could ranking anywhere. Kobe Stewart, the D-line, played great. The defense, huge takeaway. They are the real deal. And excited to see them build toward that this week.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the total plays too, because I bet you if you looked at total plays, it'd be pretty lopsided.
It was
St. Francis,
crazy.
31 passes, 20 carries. So looks like they would have had 51 offensive plays while UB had 85.
And it was really 2 different games, first half, second half. Granted, both heavily in UB's favor, but that first half was, again, St. Francis got their first down, 4 minutes to go in the half. It was all UB, both ends of the ball. So the defense, no surprise, is the backbone of this team.
So I think this is enough St. Francis talk.
Yes.
Especially since they're an FCS opponent. And you know what? When you go talking about Kent State, it's really not like you're even talking about a team much better than St. Francis, to be honest with you, which is really sad to talk about. Jake Micah, our buddy at Trainwreck, went to Kent State. Obviously not too proud of what has happened to their football program. I'm coincidentally wearing their colors, yellow and blue, right now. I am not a Kent State fan. I am anything but, actually, to be honest. Like, I root for Kent State to stink because I find it funny. I wouldn't say that to Jake's face because I respect him as a person, but Kent Reed, Kent Wright, Kent State. I don't know if you've heard that one, but
I like that.
That's a popular one in the MAC. Obviously, I went to Ohio, and you're wearing green and white right now, so it's like this is we're wearing everything but UB colors.
No blue, yeah,
just by accident. But let's talk about Kent State.
Yes.
They just got their asses kicked last week against Texas Tech, 62-14, which honestly closer than I thought it would be. Yep. And the week before, they barely beat Merrimack.
They got to win, though.
Barely even a football program, in my opinion. So you're talking about one of the worst teams in Division I history last year. I don't think they had a lead until like the way end of the season. Like literally, like they were trailing, I think, for almost every moment of every game from week 1 to like the end of the season last year. And they're barely a D1 football team at the moment. Their coach left. There was allegations that I'm not going to get into, but there was rumors about stuff that was happening off the field. So not going to talk about that, but a lot of issues. Program is struggling. The line for this game, I believe, is 22.5. So if you in the over under, I believe, is 48.5. So even Vegas is looking at this as like a 35-13 win for UB, which honestly might be a closer score than what even we predict in this. What are your thoughts? It is a MAC game. It matters for UB. They have to get off to a strong start, but feels like pretty much like a gimme to open up the conference play.
Yeah, when I first saw that line, it was a lot lower than I was kind of initially expecting. I just with the history of the Kent State program the past couple of years, especially. But I mean, this is a game that I'm looking in the same exact light as SFU, where UB has to win and look dominant. That 22.5, I think anything less than that, and I would be concerned, honestly. Like if UB, beats Kent State by 17 points, like that's a closer game than you would want to expect against Kent State. But the Bulls, can't look past them. They didn't do that against SFU, which is great. They took it from the get-go. I think we're going to see a pretty similar outing from this Bulls team. Kent State's definitely a better team than St. Francis. So I want to see how this UB team looks throughout the course of the game.
Definitely. Maybe better team.
I mean, it's hard not like I give respect to the St. Francis kids.
They are definitely better.
I think they have like 70 freshmen on their team is all freshmen for SFU. Like kids battled hard, but it just different world. This is going to be an all Bulls game, Bunty.
Yeah. So I'm trying to pull up UB versus Kent State football 2024 just to give you like an idea of. So last year these two teams played in Buffalo, and the final score was 43-7 UB. It was the final game of the season, and let's see what happened. This game was 26-0 before Kent did anything, and in that contest, Kent threw for 102 yards, and they ran for 106, and UB passed for 193 and ran for 253. LJ Henderson had probably his best running game of the season, 185 yards on the ground. Victor Snow, 8 receptions, 99 yards and a touchdown. CJ Agbana threw for 3 touchdowns. Like, let's be real. CJ Agbana throws for 3 touchdowns in the game against you. You don't have a good defense. And that Kent team, I was telling you last year, they were very bad. I don't even know if that makes it. I don't even know if that's justice for them. Like saying that bad. I'm just going to go through their entire season last year. 31-point loss to Pitt, which in hindsight, pretty good.
That's a great game for Kent State. I was at that game.
St. Francis, they lost 23-17 last year.
Oh, no.
Gatesy, I said, are you sure?
I'm still holding the line. They lost a lot of guys.
Are you sure I don't know, Gatesy.
I'm holding the line. Come on, Golden Flashes.
I don't know, Gatesy. We might have just seen a tougher game. Then they played Tennessee, which is just cruel and unusual punishment. 71-0 loss. Then their gift the next week was Penn State, who was 10th at the time. That was a 56-0 loss. So they lost 2 games in a row by 127 points without scoring one.
Did you just do that math in your head?
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty good at quick math.
That's good.
I don't like to brag. I'm pretty humble. 29-point loss against Eastern Michigan. They had a close one against Ball State. 2-point loss against Ball State. And that was basically like it for their season after that point.
Yeah.
21-point loss Bowling Green, 31-point loss Western Michigan, 41-0 against Ohio, 34-7 against Miami, 21-point loss against Akron, 36-point loss against UB. Like I want to. Oh God, I wish I could have the 2024 points against for Kent State football, because
a lot to a little. I'm not joking, man. Like yes, they had 3 Power 5 opponents in Pitt, Tennessee, and Penn State. That might have been the worst season in the history of college football. Like they averaged 13.9 points a game, and they allowed 44 points a game. Their average loss was by 30 points. That's not good.
They were 134th in the nation in points per game, which was last. And they were 134th in the nation in points allowed at 44, which was last. They were last place in points, last in points allowed. Like one of the worst teams of all time. And so that's what UB is playing this weekend.
Yes.
So
they do have an electric return man though, Dearness Johnson, I believe. So that good for him. He's going to be looking great somewhere else next year. But like I'm going to tweet this out like during the show. Like the one cool thing about Kent is they actually do have a lot of like alumni that are very impressive, like Josh Cribbs, Julian Edelman,
James Harrison, Antonio Gates, Nick Saban, Lou Holtz.
Yes.
Like
crazy.
It's like, oh my God, like they all went to Kent State, which it's like it just shows you like at some point in your life, like you weren't valued the way that you can become. So like
got an inspirational show today.
Congratulations to all of them for continuing to persevere through Maction and make something of the
love Maction.
That's just like how like James Taylor, I believe his name. What's his name? What was the defensive end for the Miami Dolphins? Jason Taylor. Went to Akron. Like
it's like Khalil Mack, the Bull.
Hey,
Ben Roethlisberger.
Hey. We don't do this for UB. UB is.
I'm just Mac as a whole. There's a ton of great players that come out of the Mac.
Akron or Kent State. UB is not Akron or Kent State.
I'm saying the Mac as a whole. There's a lot of great players that come out of it that a lot of people basically forget were Maction stars at one point.
I'm gonna tweet this out right now. Could UB's I'm never done the tweeting while like actually like
wow 2-for-1. I can riff a bit mainly about
I'm just gonna tweet this out. Could UB's next opponent, Kent State, be the worst team the Bulls have ever faced?
Thank you, Dylan. I did misspeak. The realist Clark. I don't even know where I got that name from, but thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Matt,
I love it. Matt joining the show. This bunt never stops. You know what, Matt? Thank you for tuning in for the UB coverage. You know, Gatesy, the fans, they go over everything. Like we got them from crossing swords to pay the bills to bullet points. This is my dream goal, Gatesy. I want people to love all the Buffalo teams. I don't want
we're one family.
Yeah, I don't want it to just be the Bills. I don't want it to just be the Sabres. I want them to embrace UB, Canisius, Niagara, St. Bonaventure. Hell, I want them to watch the high schools in the area if they ever want to have some interest in that.
Shout out Dino.
But let's answer that. Let's answer that question I just threw out there, Gatesy. Could this be? I already went over the numbers. Could this be possibly the worst opponent that UB has ever faced?
last year, yes, I think Kent State is a better team this year than last year. But it is up there for one of the worst. Bunty, I think I'm giving this Kent State team a bit more respect than maybe I probably should in my head. But I do think this is going to be one of the worst teams UB has ever faced. But that being said, they still need to prove and get their offense on the right track against this Kent State team. I'm going to, keep harping on next. They're not going to do much of anything come the end of the season when they're playing Ohio, when they're playing Toledo, Miami, Ohio, the last 2 weeks. They have a very tough back half of the schedule. They need to have their offense figured out by then.
So I don't want to spend much time on Kent State. Once we get to better opponents like Troy, UConn, other MAC teams, we'll get more into the scouting and we'll break it down. I honestly don't think it's really worth it. Matt's saying can't wait for Sabre season. Gatesy, I'm telling you, he wants to be on one of these crossing swords at some point.
Well, we're gonna make it roll. The Sabre season is right there.
We'll figure it out with you, Matt. But let's just get right into the prediction.
Yep.
How much is UB going to win by? And give us your reason why.
Yeah, the line being 22.5 scares me a lot. The fact that that's very similar to the UB Minnesota line, which was I think 16.5. I have the Bulls winning by 30, 31. I'll go 31. We'll go 31. I think the offense is going to take that next step again. Hopefully, defense thing's going to shut them down. Kent State going to get one touchdown on the day. Bulls are putting up, 38-7. I'll have it be if that math checks out, Bunty. I know you're more of a math guy, but if the Bulls lose by less than 22.5 line, I would be very concerned for next week's show on what things are going to look like. But I have the Bulls winning big here. Yeah,
so this one, I don't really know what to take out of the line. If this was at UB Stadium, I think I'm picking a 45 to 10 score. On the road, there is a potential to be a little bit sloppy. This is a MAC opener. Kent State technically is 1-1, even though we know that was
these teams are even.
I don't think I'm going to have UB covering, which I know sounds like a hypocritical thing to say after I just said Kent State might be one of the worst teams they've ever played. But I also don't like where UB's offense is right now, and I do think they need to work on a few things. So I'm going to go 31-10. So the line is 22.5. I'm going to go at 21, which is going to be just underneath that. So I don't have the Bulls covering, but I do think they're going to win comfortably because I just can't see this Kent State team scoring more than 20 points against UB, and their defense isn't going to be good enough to stop UB for 4 quarters. So I really have no doubts that the Bulls are going to win. It's more so how much are they going to win by, and if they do somehow lose this game, then everything we said preseason about this UB team can be thrown out the window. If you lose to Kent State, forget about the season. Honestly, forget about the season. Yeah. You're a bottom 25 team in the country if you lose to Kent State.
Yeah, that we're not even going to think about that. I'll probably have to enroll in Kent State at that point for how much we've talked negatively about them. But yeah, let's.
Well, Jake Micah can help us do that, so we could get a recommendation from him, which probably can help us as far as admissions and stuff. But I think we'll be okay. I don't think we'll have to worry about that. Okay, let's go around the MAC. We're going to wrap things up in the next couple minutes here. Crazy week for the Mid-American Conference. Some nice wins, some awful losses. I'll start with the losses and then talk about the wins so nobody accuses me of being biased on this show. The losses, obviously, Eastern Michigan losing to Long Island is not a good one for the league. Not a good one at all. In fact, really, really, really bad. Another loss was MAC newcomer UMass against Bryant. Another horrible loss for the
Sean Dolek alum, though.
Yes.
Bryant.
Well, no, Joey Andreessen. Yeah, Joey Andreessen.
Oh, Andreessen, sorry. Yeah, got my linebackers mixed up.
You're good. Both linebackers. And
thank you.
Northern Illinois, which technically is still around the league, even though we all root for them to struggle now. They played Maryland tough, but lost 20-9. Mm-hmm. And then let's talk about one other one. We'll go Miami. Ohio is playing Rutgers, a team that Ohio University nearly upset in their opener, and Miami lost 45-17. So not the best showing for Miami. Maybe not quite at the top of the MAC like we thought before the season. The two good wins, though, Toledo over Western Kentucky, I believe. I don't have the score on that one, but Toledo was putting up a lot of offense. But the marquee one, the highlight of the weekend, the one that I was in Athens, Ohio to take in and celebrate and have a great time. Always great when a MAC team beats a Big 12 team. I was there 2 years ago when Ohio beat Iowa State. I was there this weekend when Ohio beat West Virginia. Largest crowd in Pete in history, 26,700. It was a sellout. A lot of West Virginia fans made the trip. They had to buy season tickets just to get tickets. So Ohio attendance numbers are going to be incredibly inflated this year. And I'm telling you, it was wild. They scored their 2 touchdowns within a minute and a half of each other late in the second quarter. Took a 17-7 lead. West Virginia gets a field goal to open the second half. And then that was the only points of the second half. Parker Navarro, great first half. Second half, 3 interceptions. They had a turnover on downs. Ohio didn't get a point in the second half. And they win the game 17-10.
Craziness.
To improve to 1-1. They could be 2-0. They really could be 2-0 with wins over Rutgers. And
with a great resume as well.
Yeah, that would be like very
the USF resume at that point.
For like a group of 5. Well, USF beat Florida. That not quite that level, but
Rutgers, Florida, very similar programs.
Very, very similar. So, but when you look at this Ohio team, I think they're the favorites in the conference right now. And it's week 1, they did it with offense. Mm-hmm. Week 2, they did it with defense. And a quick little stat for you. When they beat Iowa State 2 years ago at home, they were the first MAC school to ever defeat a Big 12 school and hold them to single-digit points.
Whoa.
And this game, they held West Virginia to 10 points. So they're probably the second MAC team to ever win a game against a Big 12 opponent with 10 or less points. So that's something for a MAC school to be able to limit a Big 12 offense like that. But I would say overall the thought on the league this year, down year, doesn't look that great. That plays into UB's favor. And you're probably now, after 2 weeks, looking at Toledo, Ohio, and UB, and Miami's going to have to convince me that they're better than what they've shown.
Yeah, they've had a rough couple of weeks, and they've slid in, the sports books as well, just of like what, Vegas thinks of the MAC. Toledo's at plus 190, Ohio plus 270, which I feel like they slid after last week, which is kind of crazy. Also, Bunty, how did Ohio get West Virginia to get to Athens? Like, I don't know how they wrangled that, but good for them.
I think it was 2-for-1. I think they have 2 more games in West Virginia, and now we got a visit by the Cat. Nice.
Cat, that's good luck. Bowling Green has Pudge. Bullet Points has Goose.
And we got So, but I'll tell you this: if it is a 2-for-1 and they go to West Virginia, I'm going to go to Morgantown for those games, and I'm going to be like, "We kicked your butt. We kicked your butt in Athens. I don't even care if we lose to you guys this game. We beat you in Athens. You can't talk crap to us." It was like when we beat Penn State the one year. I went to Penn State like a decade later. It's like, you know what? Like, you guys are going to kill us today, but there was that one time a decade ago when we took care of business. So
yeah, Bowling Green's actually hopped Miami of Ohio for odds to win the MAC.
Wow.
And then Central Michigan's right behind Miami of Ohio, so they've really slid in the eyes of Vegas the first 2 weeks. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Kent State's not even listed on the odds. So I think that goes.
That's not good. That is not good if you are not even.
Oh, I have to click more. They're plus 30,000. So I think might save my money on that.
Before playing one MAC game, they're plus 30,000. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's
well, JT, I think this is a good spot to end the show. I have bowling coming up. We don't want to have any technical difficulties. I just removed the outro just so we don't have a
good call. Intro. None of that.
Gatesy, great show tonight. We're almost getting to Sabre season. Crossing Swords is going to be starting again soon. So, guys, you probably know us from that. You're going to see us on Crossing Swords a lot. But bullet points, we're going to try to do this every week. Most of the time, probably Wednesdays. Sometimes we'll move it around depending on the midweek action. But he's Gatesy. I'm Mike. And you're watching Bullet Points.